there's air in that line. There was air in the or there was gas in the bowls in the carburetor, and that's when he came down pit road. He parked, but somewhere in that pit stop, there became an air pocket or an air bubble between the carburetor and between the fuel cell.
Matt?
And Adam, when he started to pull out of that pit box, you could hear that 11 car a little sluggish, trying to get the power down.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful on that, not to cut it close if it gets to the end of this race. That'll cost them a race.
Okay, but here's something that they've got that nobody else has right now. Okay, they've got one full green flag stop under their belt leading the race, not running in a draft. So they know that's my max number right there. I can't go any farther than that unless the driver saves me some, or unless I run in a draft. So that's a piece of knowledge that Mike can put in his book, and that Denny can put in his book and say, okay, if it gets down to 2 extra laps, I'm going to have to either save or I'm going to have to draft. If it gets down to, say, 8 or 10, I'm going to have to get back in the pack and race myself.
But you can't even match that lap. You almost need to come in a lap earlier, right, Matt?
Absolutely, Wally. Mike Ford just told them they will play a little more conservative on this run and for the rest of the race. Mike told them we should have been good for about 2 more laps. So information learned. We're going to put use from here to the finish.
And you know that's good stuff right there, because you've got a crew chief down there leading the race, thinking he's got a cushion, and all of a sudden, boom, he finds out he doesn't have a cushion. Now I want you to look at this. The 2 car has dropped back into the clutches of the 9 car. That happened on pit road. As they went down pit road, and we were on different guys' pit stops, I was watching the 2 car. 2 car got held up twice coming down pit road. Once on the entrance up here just before the start-finish line, and once when he turned into his pits. The 20 car of Joey Logano was exiting. He had to stop, let Joey out, accelerate again, and drive another 4 or 5. So the 2 or 3 seconds lead that he had over the 9 car evaporated right on pit road.
And that lap machine of Travis Kvapil there, you see the 38 making life difficult on Kasey Kahne.
Casey's got to run here. He's going to pull out. Oh!
Kahne's been strong today. Here he is at the start-finish line. Pulling out of line. This is the battle for the race lead at lap 95.
That was a strong move right there. But again, we've seen the 2 cars just be a little bit off on the first 2 or 3 laps after a pit stop. Whoa, sideways there.
Denny Hamlin lost the ground exiting pit road, as we showed you. Busch, Kahne, and Montoya all went by, but Hamlin back up running strong and gaining those spots back. Here he is to the inside of Montoya for 3rd.
And Denny's made that move work all day long. Drive to the bottom, let the car exit really high, let build that momentum. And yeah, Montoya gains maybe a car length back, but he's got the position. But the interesting thing about the shuffle in the top 3 right now is the shuffle occurred not because of pit stops. Those guys had solid pit stops with solid team efforts. It shuffled because of issues that happened either entering pit road or, in Denny's case, exiting pit road because of the fuel.
And it was about a 4-second shuffle. That's really what cost Denny is at least 4 seconds on the racetrack is what it cost him there.
You see the 2 coming right here. Okay, he's got to check up for the 52. Now he's got to check up for the 2. Now he's got an accelerate, or for the 20. Now he's got an accelerate, and he's in. Those 2 things right there knocked him back 3 or 4 seconds into the clutches of the 9, who had a clean pit stop, a clean entry, and a clean exit.
And as we all know, green flag pit stops, it doesn't take much to put you behind the 8 ball. You're right on board with Kyle Busch. He's had a successful run today. Under caution for the 3rd time today at Michigan. We will show you why in a moment. First, pit stops for the 3rd time today. Ralph?
Here comes Kasey Kahne to his pit stall. First one in. This is only the 5th time this year he has led a race. Let's see if they only take 2 tires this year on this stop, I should say. That's going to be the call. 2 tires and fuel, Phil.
Ralph, David Reagan was a little bit too free. A little bit better that time than it was the time before. 2 tires, Marty. No trouble. David Reagan makes contact with Casey Mears, trying to leave the pits, Marty.
2 tires for Tony Stewart. Already gone from this end of pit road. Darian Grubb made the call once he saw everybody else take 2, Matt.
Absolutely the same call for the 2 of Kurt Busch. He said keep an eye on the 9, since they will be hitting their box first. Let's see what they do. If they go right sides, let's do the same. That's exactly what Kurt Busch did.
We show you the issues for Casey Mears on pit road. His problems compounded on the pit lane after something that happened on track. The reason we're under caution, The 83 of Casey Mears into his teammate, the 82 of Scott Speed.
There's #1 rule when you're teammates. Do not take your teammate out for any reason.
I think we're all going to get in a fight because it seems to be a theme among teammates this year, doesn't it? Back in a moment.
You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
And make sure you race out to see our new movie, Grown Ups.
Did you really just say that?
Yeah, because it's funny.
No, it wasn't.
Well, and I guess I shouldn't say that we'll see him in the winner's circle on June 25th.
Okay, you know, I'm going to put him into the wall.
Casey Mears has gone to the garage. The reason why, he had some damage when he got together with his teammate. That's why we're under caution for the 3rd time today.
Yeah, these guys have been running hard at it, and it looked like the 83 car split up just a little bit, but again, Kyle, you know, that's one thing a car owner, that's the last thing that they want to see is you reckon out.
As a car owner, you expect your guys to give each other room. Here's audio from inside the car here.
I mean, really, we're running like in the very back of the pack like crap, and we're going to wreck each other? Really?
All right, take a deep breath. Enough of that. We got a lot of racing to do.
That's good. And that's Ryan trying to calm him down. But that's an excellent point. You know, if you're running for 5th and 6th, if you're running like Jeff Gordon and those guys were, you know, at Texas, that's a little bit different. But when you're running 36th or 37th or wherever these guys were running at the time, I'm really not sure. But they were at the back of the pack. And that's frustrating for this driver, especially for Scott Speed.
And the sponsor, Red Bull, had a little bit of an issue with Weber and Vettel in the Formula One race a couple weeks ago where those two guys wrecked into each other. We're
getting very close to checking off that for every team this year. Every teammate has wrecked each other so far this year. It seems like it's amazing how this year's been.
Travis Quapple got the free pass. It's an all Penske front row. That because Sam Hornish Jr. on the outside stayed out under caution and did not pit. Back to green just past halfway at lap 103.
Now, we saw Hornish last week at Pocono get clean air and drive away from...
Look at how sideways the two just got. Denny Hamlin got right underneath him, took the air off the spoiler. And then Kurt Busch hangs on.
Yeah, and then you see these guys just freight train him on the inside. Now, the outside line will come back, but back to Hornish. We saw him get clean air and really drive away. In the restart previous to this, we saw the 11 get clean air and drive away. Now, Hornish has stayed out, so the tires, there's a little bit difference here, but still, having fresh air and having that clean air is almost a Tony Stewart thing that we saw earlier in the race.
Hornish last pitted at lap 86 in that cycle of green flag pit stops. All the others came down under caution for various strategies at lap 100. One driver on the move since the restart, Jeff Gordon. You saw that move he made to jump up to 3rd. Now he's racing Denny Hamlin, about to lose that position actually as driver 24. And Casey Kane waiting right there as well.
That 11 gets through the center better than any car I've seen so far up to this point.
And when he gets to the center, he gets to the gas quick, and that engine pulls up off the corner.
The good news for Denny Hamlin, he was able to sort out his issues that he encountered in a cycle of green flag pit stops a moment ago. Larry McReynolds has more as you see Kurt Busch going to the inside of his teammate for the lead. Larry?
Yeah, Adam, I'm trying to explain exactly what happened to the 11 car. They no longer run that mechanical fuel pump up on the side of the engine. They run what we call a Waterman fuel pump. It's located right here in the trunk area with the fuel cell. It's a cable-driven system. Now, I'm going to go over to my Toyota cutaway engine and rear end assembly. This would simulate pretty much the Waterman fuel pump. And it's driven off of a cable, and you can see how it's turning right there, and that's pumping the fuel. Now, this is the cable, and what drives the cable is right off the back of the camshaft. Now, they ran 42 laps on fuel with that 11 car, and when you're out there on the racetrack at high speed, you're turning over 9,000 RPM. But when Denny came into the pits, he's probably sitting there about 17 or 1,800 RPMs, and the fuel pump is turning a lot slower. They were very low on fuel, I think, as Mike Ford told him. It got a gulp of air. The minute he got back out on the racetrack up to speed, he got the RPM up, it picked up fuel, and away he went. And oh, by the way, guys, remember what happened to David Reagan on pit road a while ago? One of my keys to the race, take care of your nose and fenders, even on pit road.
Hey, Larry, what is the advantage or the disadvantage of the change that they made, running that different pump.
There's no question. It's a safety standpoint, Wally. Just think about all the times when the fuel pump was up on the side of the engine, especially on a Chevrolet on the right front, a car would hit the wall.